Welcome to Daddy vs. Doctor. Here are your hosts, pediatrician Dr. Scott Cohen and comedian Sebastian Maniscalco.
Today, great show ahead of us. We got a family that, aside from the kids' issue about rolling around at 8 months and the thumb sucking,
right?
The father says he's 37 and too old. Wow. What else do we got, Dr. Scott?
We got the generational complaint. We got grandma. This was great, right? We have grandma who wants to do it one way, swaddle the baby, burp the baby, and she's questioning how her son and her daughter-in-law are doing things. Always love that.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
She's Italian. He married outside the culture. Looks like the wife is going to leave soon. Lastly, we got
speech.
Unprecedented speech issue.
Yeah, speech issues.
Yeah, which you handled beautifully. So
thank you.
We got to
But I think, the big thing on the show is, right, just parents want to make sure they're doing things right, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah. That's what the show is kind of centered around. It's you're not alone. There's many parents dealing with these issues.
Why we're together.
Yeah.
Not alone.
Don't touch the garment.
Yeah, we'll talk about Sebastian not wiping mucus of his own daughter with his own clothing because he didn't want to stain it on the next Daddy versus Doctor.
So, I want to get into something that I experienced for the first time with my child yesterday, and that was a recital at school. Mm-hmm. Now, she was with a group, her whole class, and I mentioned this to you last night, mm-hmm. where when you're watching a recital and your child is in the recital, are you aware of any other kid in the recital? Because literally my eyes were trained on my daughter, and every other kid could have been on fire.
There was no natural comparison of like, my kid's better than that one over there in the corner and that one over there. You weren't checking that out?
I did, but it was on the peripheral. Like I could just see that she was, and again, I know this is my kid. I might have bias. But when other parents are chirping and going, that was a stellar performance, my thoughts were validated, and I was weeping.
Crying.
Yeah. Full-blown crying. And I'm looking around because I was in the back. No one saw me cry, but I was looking at any other fathers to see if they were crying, and no emotion. Now, what's wrong with me or what's wrong with them? Do you have a take on this?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I think you're just so proud. I think as they get older, that goes away. No, I had the same moment. My daughter Lexi was casted as Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Okay, so first you're proud. You're like, oh, she's Belle, right? This is amazing. We had never heard her sing before. We didn't know if she could sing. We didn't know if she could memorize lines. She would hide behind double doors, so she would practice in our bathroom behind a locked door, in the bedroom that was locked. So there was like 2 levels. We couldn't hear her. This went on for months. So the opening night came, and we came in, and it's great when all the teachers and everybody comes, oh, your daughter's amazing. We saw the dress rehearsal, amazing. But you don't know. Usually it's like, oh, yeah, everybody's amazing. So you don't really know. So the opening number, the music goes, and she comes from the back of the audience down the middle aisle singing the opening notes. And I lost it. I couldn't. It like that cry that you're like, you can't breathe. Waterworks. My wife, waterworks. And now I feel like everybody's looking at the two of us, not at her, because we're just losing it. And I didn't stop crying for 90 minutes.
Yeah. So it's amazing how those moments in your life have such a profound effect on and again, I don't know if it's with a daughter and a father.
Yeah.
When Caruso's in this recital, I want to see if I'm balling.
I mean, he'll probably be in the wrestling match, the Roman Greco, pinning somebody, and you're going to be just as weeping. That's my boy.
It might be something a little bit more manly, but, and there's another thing I had a problem with, and I'm sorry. It's the recital. Dress the kid up.
Uh-huh.
You know, it ain't regular school. You know, leave the Nikes at home and put a nice shoe on, a slack.
Why, were people wearing burlap bags? What's going on?
Some of the kids, more than half, just thought it was another day at school. Now, I don't care what religion you're coming from, but get some red on.
Yeah.
But
Blue for the Jews.
Blue for the Jews, whatever.
Blue
but I mean, there was no Jewish songs. It was all jingle bells. If you're gonna sing jingle bells,
that's the issue right there. But no, it would be nice to hear from the audience about those proud mom and dad moments, whether it's a performance, sports, like what really got you.
Yeah.
Because I feel that way when I see whether it's, Aubrey playing soccer or Lexi singing a song. You're so proud. And maybe we're transferring because I live vicariously through them because these are things I wasn't good at, I'm not good at, and I see them do it. I'm like, yeah, they're awesome.
You bring up a great point. I'm going to do this to camera. Guys, if you're out there and you have a proud moment, we want to hear from you. What is the proudest moment you've ever had that your child had done? I mean, again, that English is so bad.
Yeah.
How I phrase that, but you know what I'm talking about.
And it could be anything because one of Sebastian's proudest moments was when Caruso stopped throwing poop around the room. So you really could run the gamut.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Proudest moment, please contact us here at Daddy versus Doctor. Now, let's get into some of the calls today. I'm really excited. We haven't done this in a while.
Nope.
It's a Saturday, by the way. It's in the morning. I feel that my voice is still in bed.
It's really husky.
Yeah. I'm dealing with a slight congestion problem.
Really? Can we get a panel, please?
Spit glass.
Little panel. There she is.
There you go.
Man, I feel like I'm trying to get Zoom up with my mom. This is what my mom's always doing. What Zoom? What mute? What's up? What's
you look
going
beautiful.
on?
I like the glasses matching the sweater. Very festive.
My favorite color, pink.
Love it.
So what's going on? What's your question today? What's happening over there?
My question was, and I don't know where my son is. I know he's supposed to be on too. The swaddling of babies.
Yeah.
I know when you're newborn, they get swaddled in the hospital, but somehow they come out and then they're like this, in little PJs. In my day, we used to swaddle.
And what did you swaddle them with? What did you used to swaddle the kids with?
The Muslim thought that you were taught before,
Yeah.
And pop.
Yeah. So Sebastian, were you good at the origami of swaddling?
So when our kids were born, I was taught at the hospital how to swaddle from the nurse. I then brought that technique back home, and within 30 seconds, the kid busted out of the swaddle.
Houdini.
Yeah. So I've seen these they're pre-made.
Right.
Where you tuck the arms in and then you
wrap
do
the
something.
chain, the lock, everything.
What's the deal with the swaddle?
All right. So I have a great way of swaddling. So we're going to have to post. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get a baby. We're going to swaddle a baby. 3 steps and done, because there's so many different ways to swaddle. So many steps, gets crazy. So the reason we usually swaddle is babies have what's called a Moreau reflex, a startle reflex, for the first 4 to 6 months of their life. So basically, if their arms are free, do this. You like that? Did I scare you?
No.
Saturday morning, he's like still sleeping. So they have a startle reflex so that it constantly wakes them up. So you swaddle them down so that their arms don't keep waking them up. So you're right. We usually typically do it for the first couple months. And then usually, if not sooner, 4 months or rolling, whichever comes first, we actually recommend getting out of the swaddle, especially at night, because babies start rolling and we don't want them to roll and be stuck in a position that could be a risk for SIDS or something like that. So swaddling up until that point, typically safe. And a lot of babies like it. To your point, though, I really actually depends on the baby. How do you remember how Serafina and Caruso were on ultrasounds when they were in the womb? Were their arms up? Were their arms down?
No, I can't recall.
No, you don't remember. You don't remember those?
No.
No. The reason I said, because my two girls were the minority. They did not want to be swaddled. They always wanted their arms up in the air like they were being held up at the OK Saloon. And if you tried to put it down, they screamed and screamed and screamed. And we looked back at ultrasound pictures, and every picture of the ultrasound, their arms were up in the air. So it sort of makes sense. A position you're in for 9 months is probably a position that you're comfortable in. But most babies are down and they like that position as well.
Okay.
So I say, look at the ultrasound pictures.
If I can ask, I know back in our day, they also used to tell us, well, at least my mother-in-law, so I'm going way back more, you swaddle to keep their little arms straight, and their legs, and that's what they used to tell us.
See, and I like the old wives' tales, right? So that's not the case. Yeah, you're not going to cause straining of arms and legs, but it's a good point because we get asked that a lot, like, why are babies bow-legged, right?
Yeah. I just, before we start going any further here, I just want to get the dynamic between the family here. So we got your son up there, is that correct? And your daughter-in-law?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see them.
Hi, everybody. I'm from Seattle. It's my wife, Misty, and this is Louis Gino, but we call him Bambino Gino.
Bambino Gino. Wow, is that Italian? So this is what I'm hearing a lot.
Right.
In parenting, when you have a grandparent also there, the old adage, back in my day, right? Mm. So now we have a conflict possibly of interest of young couple raising the kid, then a grandparent coming in and going, and I dealt with this with my mother. My mother would be like, Dad, don't worry about. So and then the younger parent seems to be concerned. But the grandparent is giving testimonial advice. Basically, she's been through this.
Right.
So,
and they like to point it back. I don't want to cut you in, but they like to point it back with, look how you turned out. And you're like, oh, you got a good point.
Yeah. No, they're always
they're not even sitting in the same room. That tells you everything.
No.
And we haven't heard anything from the daughter-in-law because I don't know what's going on through her head.
But I think grandma is always right when she's there, and when she leaves, you do what you want. Right? When we had our first daughter, my mom was there, and she says, "Watch how you're holding the baby." And my brother said, "Mom, he's a pediatrician." And she goes, "Yeah, doesn't matter. I'm his mother." So it works no matter where you are.
Yeah. So I noticed you have a, what do you call that? A little napkin on your shoulder there. What do we call that?
Burp cloth?
Burp cloth.
Or napkin. Yeah, that's good.
So
you were a waiter, so that makes sense.
I was going to bring out a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
What's the question on was there a question on burping? Did we have that?
Well, again, in my days.
I love that. I love it.
Because you would use the burp cloth, and I'm going to use a little Kleenex, the baby on, and so the baby's face wouldn't be on you picking up perfume and stuff. I think that's it's been also not used anymore. Look, guys, I go with whatever they do. It's okay. I mean, I'm bringing up the questions, but that doesn't mean I don't go with the flow. I don't
think you do. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
No, people use burp cloths. I mean, really just so that they don't stain their clothes. But burping, and we should talk about different methods of burping because it's a good question, and it's sort of a feel. How did you burp the babies?
I had a burp cloth up on the shoulder.
We need like a baby here.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't have we don't have the budget.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
We need a doll. I'll bring a baby doll from home. Seraphina's got a baby doll. All right, how did you do it?
Demonstrate.
So I had the baby up on the shoulder, and I would walk around.
For the record, he never burped the baby before.
Ask Lana. We'll get Lana on the phone.
All right, okay.
I'm a very participatory father. All right.
Okay.
I was, and I just gave really firm shots to the back.
Yeah.
And I had no problem with it. They burped right over.
Burped, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Did you have a napkin?
No, it was a burp cloth.
Oh, burp cloth.
Yeah. I just didn't want to get it on my suit.
So what I like, I have a hard time personally burping up on the shoulder because I feel like it takes 3 hands. You got a hand on the butt, you got a hand on their head, and then I need like a third hand patting them. So what I do, again, we need this baby here. I hold the baby. I have my hand on their chest, my fingers under their armpits. Baby's leaning forward on my knee, and then their weight's into my hand, and then I'm burping firmly but gently that way. That's how I do it.
What are you guys doing? Could you show us what you do, or is baby sleeping?
Oh yeah, he's taking a little nap right now.
Don't wake him up.
Yeah, what I like to do is because he thinks he's playing soccer all the time. He's always like throwing a header everywhere. So what I like to do is I'll put on. Oh, there's a good example. Look at that.
He's cute.
Now you're sitting.
He's spitting up again.
See, grandma's like, see, they did it wrong. Look at grandma. I love her.
Did you catch it?
I love her.
Catch it?
And I go, that's okay. If he smells that way a little bit, it's natural.
Right.
I go over the shoulder.
She's an over the shoulder.
Grandma, back in your day, did your husband even touch your son until he was 18?
Nope.
No. See, it's a totally different dynamic now, right? I mean, he's got the kid. Wife's there with not saying a damn thing.
Gear,
but
she's there to hand the gear.
Is he more of a dad than you thought he would be?
Yes.
Why isn't grandma answering?
You guys are listening.
No. Anybody can answer. I was asking the wife.
You know how they were raised? I was expecting to do a lot more by myself, but he's amazing.
Nice. And are you Italian? The wife? What's your name? Misty. Are you Italian? Your wife?
No, Chad.
Italian's not white?
No, Italian's his own thing.
Okay.
No, we're all.
Yeah. We're olive.
You're olive.
No, we're espresso.
I was gonna ask if you knew a Misty that was Italian.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't look Italian. That's why. Well, coming into an Italian family, especially with an overbearing Italian grandmother.
Whoa.
He seems so sweet.
Take it easy. But believe me, I know to come into an Italian family is a tough thing to do if you're not Italian.
Yeah. Notice we don't have Misty's parents on this. That tells you everything right there.
Wow, you guys.
This is comedy. We're bringing it right to you, Grandma. Relax. I'm dealing with this in my own home.
It sounds like you have a great babysitter, so you're very lucky.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it. Enjoy
Bye,
your
guys.
Saturday.
Have a good day.
Take care of that little baby. All right. This is great. It's going to lead me right into a burping technique that I came across on Instagram. See, I'm even working outside of this. Okay.
Surprising you're bringing stuff.
I want to get your take on this technique. So what's your take on that? The hanging off the thigh.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that work. Whatever feels good to you, because you got to feel comfortable with the baby. That's the most interesting thing about being a new parent. And I remember this when I was in training. The first time you hold a baby, you feel like they're, glass. Any movement, any wrong movement, that you're going to break them. And then you get really comfortable flipping around like pancakes. So
yeah.
I do something similar, sitting them on my lap. She has them in between her legs, sort of pushing on the belly to help the burp come out. I think lots of different ways work.
All right, moving on here on Daddy versus Doctor. Fascinating call with the grandmother, and I think we should do more of those calls where you get that multi-generational upbringing where the grandma's chirping in, back in my day, da, 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 da.
But the truth is, we did end up okay. You know, they did it very differently. Our parents did it very differently. I feel like there were less rules. You just sort of figured things out. And I'd say we turned out okay.
Okay,
No?
there's one thing of being turned out okay, meaning, okay, yes, we're productive citizens, you know, we're not in jail, what have you. But I'm looking at a lot of stuff online, and it's saying don't give your baby food that's in the plastic. It's got to be glass. All these things that I'm like, okay, that's the way I was raised. What's wrong with me now that I was having baby food out of plastic? You know, is there
What could you have become?
Well,
No, I know. I just feel like there are some things that we've changed because science technology has proven that it is just safer and better. And then I feel like there's a lot of things that happen that we're just making too many rules. Like, you have to do it this way. Why do we have to do it this way? There's a lot of different right ways. And as long as we're not causing harm, I think it's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I'd say you turned out okay.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm here with you.
You're a comedian. Oh, the Christmas pajamas. We have to talk about this about yesterday. We'll get back to that. Let's see the whole thing.
I have to turn off we're doing Elsa and Anna karaoke.
Wait, you're doing, oh, hi, cutie.
This is Sebastian and Dr. Cohen.
Wait, do you
And
know
that's
that?
Modi.
No.
Oh, I thought he knew you the way you jumped on her with
I
the
just
Christmas
love the
tree.
festive nature of the pajamas.
Thank you.
Are you making cookies? What are we doing? What are we doing?
We're in the process. It's kind of like a loony bin right now, but it's great.
I love it.
All right, you gonna sit down? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
What?
Hey, what's up?
Why isn't he in pajamas?
I feel like we were just hanging out with you in Providence a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I love that show. That was a great crowd. My God. Guys, what's going on with the?
So, Phoebe, do you want to come over here and show Sebastian what's going on? So, Phoebe, since she was probably, 4 months old, thumb sucker, which was really helpful because it kind of like self-soothed her. But now she, first it was picking her nose too. So we had a lot of nosebleeds. And now it's also the belly button.
Oh, there we go. How old are you, Phoebe?
How old are you? 3.
3. You're super cute.
Say thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so
here's the thing. I don't mind it, but when we're in public, it's a lot to have her fingers in every hole. And when we're driving in the car, she freaks out if she can't get to her belly button. So how do we stop?
Well, Sebastian cuts holes in his sweaters.
Well, that's one thought I had. She can't wear like those zip up pajamas because she can't get to her belly button.
What do you think?
Okay, so my daughter's 5.5, still sucking her thumb, and instead of the belly button, she goes with the hair. She twirls her hair. I have asked Dr. Cohen many times, am I going to have a kid who's 19 years old walking around town sucking their thumb and twirling their hair? He says she'll just stop. At this point, I'm a little...
Doesn't like my advice.
Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, it's her default.
Right.
It's just, she'll go to it. She doesn't do it at school at all. She comes home, boom, in the mouth. We're at dinner, boom.
Yeah, Sebastian, I just asked her today. I said, do you do that at school? And she said, no, the teacher tells me not to. So what am I doing wrong?
Okay, what's
No, I mean, so first of all, it's very normal. It's a self-soothing behavior, right? My daughter, same thing, was always right thumb, left finger twirling her hair. I mean, it was just like, boom, like that. And it is, I have to be honest, it's really hard to get rid of thumb sucking because it's attached to you. And usually when you're doing it, it's around bedtime and you're sort of not cognizant of it. And you can try things like other comfort items, teddy bears, blankets, things like that. I find though around bedtime, they tend to just grab it all and still find a way to get their thumb in their mouth. I think during the day when it happens, I would, without always saying no, because we don't want to make it a negative or a punitive thing, I would try to distract, take the hands, give her something to do with her hands. Let's color a picture. Let's take pens. Some people get, they make these cool bracelets with beads or strings on them. She could play with those. Necklaces, same thing. So there's cute little jewelry that you can play with that maybe that becomes the self-soothing item rather than the belly button or the thumb.
Sure.
Yeah, and the kids really like it. My daughter, we tried Cush balls. You remember the old Cush balls, the elastic balls with the strings? So like throwing a Cush ball during the day, and she was playing with those strings. Sometimes if it's the hair, we did baby dolls with long hair. So instead of twirling her own hair, she would twirl the baby doll's hair. So these are all things we can transition to. In reality, it does get better. And unfortunately, I know that I live with an orthodontist who also tells me that, it's very easily fixable down the road if a child continues to suck their thumb. So it does get better.
He lives with an orthodontist. It's his wife.
It's my wife. That'd be weird. You're right. Exactly. Right.
So, all right. And then was there another question about rolling over at 8 month?
Oh, well, yeah, we have. So Jade, she's busy in the corner. We put baby in the corner.
What is she busy doing? 8-month-old.
I'll go grab her so you can see her.
Okay.
It's good we're not paying for like filming time.
Oh no, this is great. So what's your name, bro?
I'm Matt.
Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Oh, look at this doll.
So cute.
Wow.
This is Jade. Instead of the thumb, she actually does the 2 middle fingers.
So she's Italian.
I can't explain. These girls can put themselves to sleep pretty easily, but it's like, germs everywhere all the time. But anyway, so Miss Jade, she's almost 10 months. And she's she's perfectly content, just kind of like laying on her back on the floor, not doing much. She's not crawling yet. She does roll, but I don't know, I'm just curious, what is a warning sign that developmentally or physically?
She gets up from her father. Her father's very lazy. He likes to lay around.
She's gonna lie. She's right.
So she's your buddy on Sunday mornings for football?
Yeah.
You guys are just
Football all day.
So you said she's rolling. Does she, if you place her seated, can she sort of hold herself a little propped up?
Yeah.
Got it. But she's not crawling. Is she on her belly? Is she scooting like backwards or pivoting?
She does this thing where she digs her heels into the ground and lifts her bum in the air. I don't know what that is. It's like a bridge or something.
Yeah, a little inchworm. And has she started to scoot at all? Like if she's on her belly, she can get a little bit by pushing or pivoting around?
So, yeah, she reaches for stuff, but doesn't, I'll leave the room and then all of a sudden she's further along somewhere else, but I don't know how she got there.
Got it.
She kind of bumps the floor.
She does
Okay. Humps the floor. Okay. And babbling. Babbling like ma ma ma, da da da, indiscriminately. Okay, very good. Yeah. So when I look at development, I think of development on a spectrum. Like a escalator, not with specific stops like an elevator. All right. So what you read books and it says at 6 months they have to sit up. At a year they have to walk. But development doesn't work that way. Are we making progress? Are we doing something today we weren't doing 2 or 3 months ago? So around 10 months, 8 to 10 months is when we should start seeing some movement. Typically what happens is they start scooting, pushing backwards on the belly, pivoting, combat crawling up on all fours, and then crawling, and then closer to 10 months starting to try to pull up to stand. I will tell you that a lot of second children
sort of skip crawling. They get from point A to B, some dead man drag, scoot, roll, but then they see their older sibling running around and they're like, I don't want to do that. I want to get up and pull. So I don't worry about skipping milestones if we're skipping to do something more advanced, right? If you never crawled, but you're walking, who cares? People say, oh, it affects your brain. No, we're doing something harder. So it sounds like verbally she's doing perfect. Her movement, I think is progressing. She's sitting without support, which is sort of a 6-month milestone. She's starting to scoot, which is like an 8-month milestone. So I think in the next 2 months, if you start seeing her get up on all fours and start crawling or trying to pull up, you're making that progress. That's the key. If you're not seeing that progress, that's when we start helping her out with some exercises.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Well, the other issue I think is too, like Phoebe likes to help her. So Jade would be laying there and like she just brings her everything. So it's not like she needs to go anywhere.
Right. Give her lots of floor time, put some things out of reach, make her work a little bit, not just sit with dad watching football, eating chips on the Sunday, make her move around a little bit. You guys can do it together.
Yeah, for sure.
But they look great.
Sitting on the floor with the girls is not his most favorite thing to do because it's hard to get back up.
Yeah, my back hurts. I'm old. I'm 30, almost 37.
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah.
You're old.
Let's talk about your back.
Matt, that excuse ain't gonna fly. I'm 49. I'm chasing around a 3-year-old with the major sciatica running through my ass. But no, it looks like you got a really happy family. I don't see any problems here in regards to the son. Like, who am I? But the thumb sucking though for me is something that's got to stop. I was on an airplane once and a flight attendant told my wife, "Oh my God, your daughter sucks her thumb." She goes, "So do I." I'm like, "Well, so do you. You're 30." So I just don't want to have Serafina walking around on her wedding day sucking her thumb at the dessert table. All right, guys, thanks for calling in. Enjoy the football. Matt, get on the ground every once in a while and play with the kids, all right? Take care.
Bye, guys. See you later. And I think that the flight attendant may be more the exception than the rule. But the hardest part now, it's winter, right? And they're sticking their hands in their mouth, and they're dirty, and they're constantly sick. That's and then it's like, hands everywhere.
Is there anything to be said about, we're at the mall, Serafina's touching everything at the mall, in the car, boom, in the mouth.
It's disgusting.
It's
But here's the good news. The hygiene hypothesis is that you expose yourself to germs that decrease illness later on. That's one of the reasons we're seeing so much more illness now, because nobody was sick for 2.5 years in quarantine. So I guess there's a positive, but it's sort of yucky when you see it. What's the most disgusting thing you saw like a child do in public?
Well, yesterday talking about picking the nose. And again, I don't know if kids that's all they do is pick their nose.
Yeah, they like their nose.
But Serafina picked her nose yesterday. We were at Nordstrom, and literally, it looked like it came from her brain.
Yeah.
It was like a long...
Like Carrot Top pulling it out.
Yeah, and I was like, how? And I didn't know what to do with it. There was no, what do you do?
You don't carry a napkin or something? You have burp cloths?
No, I ripped a piece of a toy box. There's a toy box there. I ripped it off.
You vandalized something?
Where am I putting it? This is.
Were you wearing clothing?
I was wearing clothing.
Yeah.
Bro, if this
you
is
don't
one
use
of those,
a sleeve. Use a sleeve.
If I would, it would have ruined the garment. It was that big. You couldn't wipe it on a wall. It would have been on security. That's how big this thing was. So we went with a toy box, and I put the thing in there, and I threw it on the floor. I didn't know what to do with it.
Use your garment.
Okay.
We were in New York City visiting friends years and years ago. They had like a 2-year-old. We were on public transportation on the bus. New York City may not be the cleanest place just in general. And this 2-year-old boy, you know the poles that everybody holds on to, I think? And he's 2 and he licks that pole.
Oh God.
Just licks it. And I'm watching it dead of winter, and I'm not a germaphobe, but I vomit a little bit in my mouth.
Oh God,
yeah.
That's terrible.
Right?
My God.
But that kid's probably like never been sick since.
Dead.
No.
What's going on?
Not too much. How are you guys?
We're just hanging out in Los Angeles on a Saturday, downtown LA, with a group of 6 people running this show. And
why does everybody look so great, put together Saturday morning, and we are a mess?
We are a mess, and I want to ask you this. Good point. Did you actually get camera ready for this show, or are you generally well put together at this hour?
All right. Well, this hour I'm in Tampa, so it's 1:54.
Okay.
So not the morning. But I did have some things to take care of this morning, so I did get dressed.
Okay.
Normally I would probably be in like, yoga pants, maybe a sweatshirt. But I don't normally put like this much makeup on. So like half and half.
But you've done this before. I mean, look how the screen is framed. There's a candle lit in the.
Yeah,
I don't bring out candles.
Is that always
ever.
lit? Is that always lit, or is that for this?
No. That's always lit.
Now, there's
I just
Christmas
really
tree lights. Do you put Christmas tree lights on at 1 p.m?
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. Okay. I mean, this is amazing.
Well, additionally, I work from home full time. So, have to have the setup ready to go constantly. So I kind of have everything planned out already on a regular basis. So
we should
I'm
film
just sitting
from her house because it's honestly, no offense, much better than this studio.
Yeah. Looks great there. So what's going on? What do we got?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. Huge fan, Sebastian. Really loving this cast. Love the other cast.
Thank you.
Cohen, you've done such an amazing job of just enlightening me as a first-time mom so far. So just appreciate what you all are doing.
Have you met my cousin? No, sorry. Go ahead.
It's trying to be funny. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a 3.5-month daughter. Her name is Marissa. And just to give you a little bit of context, she had some GI issues like 2 months ago. We had to go to the emergency room with her. Basically, she's been constipated for a really long time. And she was so backed up, but we had no idea because she was going every day. So this call isn't about constipation, but I want to give you that context because I feel like we missed it. And we were too late. Like she had to have a tube down her nose and everything. It was so while we were there, the ER doctor said, hey, she's got some fluid behind her ears. That can impact her speech down the road. If she's not hearing things, it could be muddled. You might want to get that checked out. So then fast forward about a month later, we're at her 15-month appointment. Doctor there said maybe some fluid behind the ears as well. Got referred to an ENT, so we're going to look at that. But what she said, our pediatrician, was how many words is Marissa saying? Because she should be like 5 to 7 solid words right now. And I know you guys have addressed talking and speech a little bit on the show, but my question is like she's babbling a lot. She's meeting all of her milestones otherwise, but she's not really talking. She'll say dada, of course, right? He's 4 months in the womb, but she'll say dada first.
It's easier.
Dog and say like ga. She gets things like if I say go grab your brush, she'll go grab the brush. So my questions are, first of all, should this be something we're concerned about? I don't want to miss it. Is early intervention important? And is this the stage we should be like, maybe err on the side of caution? Second question is like, what's a word to a 15-month-old? Because I think my expectation as a first-time mom is I say to Marissa, say mama. And if she's not saying mama, like right off the bat, I'm like, that's it. We got a problem, so I don't know if my expectations for what words are for a 15-month-old are on par with what they actually have. So, in addition to that, the pediatrician was also like, she should be learning 1 new word a week. And our 18-month appointment have like a bank of 30 words. So I'm like, whoa, we are way behind. So that is kind of my question situation. Are we missing something? Should we get ahead of it? And am I just totally off the mark on what talking is at this?
All right.
Yeah.
As a non-medical professional,
which you are,
which I am.
Yeah.
I am going to say, based on what you've said in the past, what I'm hearing now, I'm going to guess what you're going to say, and it's nothing to worry about.
Okay. It's not always the answer. Thankfully, it is a lot of the time. So it sounds like she's babbling a lot. She has a couple words. Sounds like she understands a lot. So she's starting to respond to her name. She's starting to look when you point at something, imitate things you do, follow little commands. Is that right? Great.
Yeah.
So after a year, developmentally, there's two types of language. There's what you understand and what you say. Very different. Understanding always comes faster than speaking. And from 12 to 18 months, I actually only care about understanding. 18 months to 2 years is typically word explosion. So there you go. So if I have a... So
you got it.
He knows. So what I really want to see develop by 18 months are like the 5 things you said: responding to her name, looking when you point, following commands, imitating and showing interest, and then making an attempt at speech, doing that inflection babble. Those 2 things are actually the predictors of good future language down the road. What do 15-month-olds have? You're right. It's not huge. 3 to 5 words and a bunch of babble. And what's a word? It's not perfect diction. I mean, look at Sebastian speak. I mean, he's about a 15-month-old. It's like ball is ba and shoe is sh and up is You understand it. I understand it. Nobody else understands it. So you got about 3 to 5 words by 15 months, maybe another 5 to 10 by 18 months. Then after 18 months, boom, it's like almost every day is a new word. Still not articulated well, but that's when the word explosion happens. Even at 2, we only expect to understand 50% of the speech. So if I have an 18-month-old that doesn't have a lot of words, let's say in the 5 to 10 range, but is babbling a lot, understands everything, I know cognitively probably everything's okay, and expressive speech can always be fixed. I give it a little time because I know naturally between 18 to 21 months, it's going to increase. And then the biggest word explosion in the first 2 years of life is 21 to 22 months. So I want to see that progress, but I feel very reassured if they understand and they're trying. And the best thing you can do in the next 3 months is narrate everything. So when she does the babble, when she points, oh, you want your blue sippy cup, here's the yellow ball. Watch that. Now, the fluid in the ears. So what we're talking about is when you have colds, you get fluid behind the tympanic membrane, and it's like having cotton balls in your ear. So yes, it could, if it's long-standing fluid, affect speech. So it's something to look for with the ENT. Make sure that fluid is disappearing. Typically, when you have colds or infections, it's there, and then it disappears after. So as long as it's resolving and we're seeing progress, that's the key. If the fluid's sitting there and it's affecting hearing, that's when we talk about tubes. So that is a good thing to monitor, but everything else sounds actually pretty good.
Okay. Well, that is super reassuring. It's just first time parent and you have, high expectations. And you guys have talked about this before, the comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my friend has a kid that's about the same age and she's saying all the things, doing all the sign language. And I'm like, come on, lady, we gotta get it on the ball here.
No, but we hear this a lot, right? Like, what was really the concern? The concern was, as a parent, am I doing right by my daughter? Am I missing something? Why is somebody else doing it better? Are they doing it better than me?
Yeah.
And that's why we do this, because you just want to be reassured that you're doing everything right. And nobody has a podcasting platform like you do. So you can tell your friend that it doesn't match.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
you know what? How bad could it be when you're lighting candles at 2 p.m. in the afternoon?
Fair enough. It's not her dad's today. So, I can at least have a candle lit and not have to worry about little hands. So I'm fully taking advantage of the quiet, the peace, and getting a chance to house smell.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Take care.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you both.
Bye-bye. This is nothing medical, but what I've noticed, kids will say something. Let's say I bring Caruso to you, and this was maybe about 6 months ago, and he would say something to you. You don't understand it. But the parent understands it because the parent's been around the kid.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of parents get upset with people that don't understand their 2.5-year-old. Like the kid will go, and you go, what? And then the parent chimes in with, he said he wants to go to the playground. Like, well, Jesus, like, how did you make that? Yeah, how did you get that from what he said? So is it just because we've been around the child that we understand their own little language?
Yeah. Were you mad at me that I didn't understand Caruso?
No. I was just giving that as an example.
No, I felt like it's like, I know a guy who.
No.
Okay. No, no, it's because, you've been around it. And that's why actually when we assess speech, it's intelligibility to strangers, not the parents. You know, every parent says, I understand 100%. And then the kid's like verbally goo.
Yeah.
I once had a family, they came in at a 1-year visit and they said, my daughter, first words were Chinese. And I said, oh, wow. And the family was not Chinese. And I said, oh, do you have a caretaker that's Chinese? And they're like, no, that's the amazing thing. Her first words are Chinese. So she was babbling, like hard consonant babbling, like gaga, baba. But then they Googled that in Chinese, that meant something. So then I was looking for cameras. I thought they were kidding, but they were dead serious that the first words were Chinese. So, parents, we like to...
I'm taking this family's no longer with the practice.
No, they are. The kid's fluent. It's perfect.
What a show today. I got to tell you, every time I do these shows, I learn something about pediatrics. And not only am I having fun talking to you guys out there, but also selfishly, I'm picking up a wealth of knowledge here from the great Dr. Scott Cohen.
I appreciate that. I had a patient the other day say that they have a newborn, and a lot of topics we cover aren't newborn related, and they said they just love listening because they love hearing the advice on parenting and knowing what to expect down the road, and it gives them confidence. And that makes me feel really good that we're doing that. Plus we get to hang out together.
Yeah,
holidays.
Once again, thank you for tuning in. And if you want to be a part of the show, we got a website, Daddy versus Doctor. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Email us at daddyversusdoctor@gmail.com with your concern, with your video, with your question. We'll get you up running on the show, and we'll have some fun. So till next week, take care, and we'll see you soon.
The opinions expressed in this program are not intended as professional medical advice, as a diagnosis, as a treatment protocol, or as a substitute for professional medical advice from your physician. Please consider your own medical history and consult with your own physician for your specific healthcare and/or medical needs and about your concerns for yourself and your family.